Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you a general video discussion regarding the latest two episodes of the CW's The Originals. This is sort of a late catch-up of, me doing my usual videos for the show. You guys know I usually do weekly reviews, as I had been until I took that trip to Arkansas, and since I got back last week, it's just been me procrastinating and trying to catch up on everything I usually do on the channel. But with this video marks the final catch-up video for myself, and I did something similar with the Vampire Diaries a couple days ago, or like a few days ago, I forget. Just talking about the latest two episodes, and I didn't really thought about the story that's going on with the current season. So overall, I'm still very much enjoying the originals as a whole. I think it's a very quality show so far. Of course, you guys know how much I love the Klaus character if you have seen my previous videos about it. And of course the various tributes I have made. And still the strongest dynamic for the past two episodes, in my opinion, has been the continued turmoil between Klaus and Elijah. Because if you guys remember back in season 1 how like stuck to and willing and eager to believe of the best of Klaus and to stick to his side and stay by his side Elijah was at one point. Now he's just a lot more doubtful of him, a lot more suspicious, and just, they're still completely divided, and I just think Klaus is having moments of, wanting to apologize to his brother, and he actually sort of did at the end of the first episode I'm talking about, which was I'll See You in Hell or New Orleans. And Klaus did admit he had gone too far and things like that. And Elijah, of course, appears like he could eventually forgive Klaus, but then he says when Gia rises from the dead and, hell freezes over and things like that. So, Gia rising from the dead isn't that far out there for this type of show, but I do think there's going to be a point where they do come together again. They sort of become as close as they once were. I'm just wondering what's going to have to happen for that to, occur. I know it's going to happen eventually, but perhaps Klaus actually does do something that redeems it, or he actually does save Elijah in some way, or something like that, or he sacrifices himself. I don't know. But as I've said before, I think a big part of the long-term story for the originals has to be Klaus's redemption. We've seen pieces laid out ever since he was on the Vampire Diaries, ever since his appearances on there. We've seen moments of his humanity, and we've seen him actually be a good person quite a bit now. But I do think there's still going to be a lot of development done as the seasons go on, to make to continue to develop him into a better, more good-oriented character, and that's still the most interesting part of the show to me, to see how Klaus changes and how he's already changed so much since we first seen him on TVD. So the whole Elijah and Klaus dynamic continues to be the strongest one of the show to me. Of course, I like that has that brother dynamic like the Vampire Diaries has with Stefan and Damon, except Stefan and Damon haven't come into conflict for quite a long time now. Well, that's the thing about it, because I think overall, surprisingly, so far, the Vampire Diaries might be having a stronger Season 7 than the original Season 3 so far. I was thinking of that at the beginning of the Season 7 of the Vampire Diaries, but with the Vampire Diaries, I feel like the Heretics dynamic, while being used well as a threat, I don't find it to be too interesting. My interest in it starting to go down. With the originals, however, I am interested and intrigued by this whole prophecy thing, that how they say each member of the original family will fall by a friend, foe, or family. So I'm curious to see more of that revealed, and when that shit actually goes down, it's really going to go down, it's going to hit the fan. So I'm really eager to see where that goes. But I will say, as villains so far, Tristan and Aurora, I should say. I'm not really sold on them yet. I'm not too interested. Although I have the flashbacks to the history between Klaus and Lucian. I think those are really well done. Any time the Vampire Diaries or the originals does a flashback, I think they're just really, really well put together. and that continues to be the case. I'm starting to like Lucian a bit more, especially after this last episode, which was, of course, a walk on the wild side. And but I can't say I'm really interested in the whole Aurora and Tristan thing too much yet. I think we've had better villains on the show, or antagonist characters. Although we haven't seen too much from them yet, so I'm still going to give them a chance, of course. But, they're definitely not shaping him to be another Michael or another Dahlia or anything like that. But, who knows? I'm sure it'll turn into a very good season anyway. I have a lot of faith in the show. I do like the new character introduced, although I can't remember her name, that wanted to recruit Marcel into the Strix. And I do like her. I like the actress that plays her. I think she does pretty well. I can't remember her name. It's something with an I or something like that. I don't know. I'm sorry. Then of course, Haley's blowing off steam in that gym and stuff like that. I did like Marcel's whole initiation into the Strix. Although, I'm kind of getting tired of the cycle of Marcel, flip-flopping sides like 24/7. I mean, I get it when he does, but I think he really just needs to pick one and stay there. But I do really like Marcel's character, though. I like him more and find him more interesting than the characters like Matt and Tyler on the Vampire Diaries, at least. I still like Tyler, but he's not quite Marcel, that's for sure. So I liked the dynamic between Marcel and the recruiter, and then I liked how Marcel to figure out who had taken his daylight ring at that event. The whole congregation, with all the well-known vampires and stuff like that. I like how he figured that out. Then he had that big brawl with the guy who actually trained the recruiter Marcel met in combat. So I thought that whole fight was actually pretty good. And I like how Marcel was able to trick him because Haley had bitten him previously and the guy wasn't aware of that. So like Marcel said, he couldn't beat him, but he's the one who's going to be dying, so who really won, So I really like that. Third to Klaus and Elijah, Marcel's the second greatest mind on the show, I think, with as far as strategy goes. So I really like that. And I really like Freya's continued involvement with the whole thing too. I'm happy she survived season 2. I'm happy she's become more of a prominent character in this season too, or more definite reoccurring character too. So I like that. She is coming and going though, so she won't be around every episode, but I do like that she's still a thing. Like I said, this isn't too specific, but I just want to say overall I have been enjoying the show, although I don't feel like it's its strongest season at this point. It does feel a bit weaker than the previous two at this point in the season. But like I said, I do have faith in the series, the creators and the writers and stuff like that. So I do think it'll probably turn out to be very good anyway. But overall, I am still liking him, don't get me wrong. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's anything else about the past 2 episodes you want to see my thoughts on, feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to discuss it with you guys. Of course, I'll be doing my weekly review of the new episode tomorrow night for the originals as well as the Vampire Diaries. So I'll be getting back on track to my usual routine. And I'll be releasing a new multi-fandom tribute with the song Chances later on. So be on the lookout for that. Catch you guys next time. Add me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, MoviePilot, and look around SpoilerDead.com. And peace.